Danielle Colby gets Mojo back from American Pickers episode. Danielle Colby got her mojo back from an American Pickers episode. She's found her motivation through an unlikely source. In her latest Patreon blog post, the American Pickers star admitted that she has lost her desire to work again. It's unclear whether she meant filming for the History Channel show or her burlesque work. As fans know, Danielle is also a burlesque artist. Since she underwent a hysterectomy, she has to overhaul her lifestyle. When she's not looking for antiques on the long-running series, she posts steamy photos and videos on her On Lifeins page. However, she's been faced with a medical setback that's halted her work. Danielle Colby overhauls her racy lifestyle. In a previous Patreon post, Danielle Colby talked about her mental health. She struggled with anxiety and depression during her post-surgery recovery. Danielle had to halt her racy lifestyle. This means that she can't use any massagers in her work or personal life. Danielle recalled an intimate moment she had with her fiancé, Jeremy Schuch. They wanted to introduce adult toys in the bedroom like they normally do. At first, he used the massager on her shoulders and farther down until she felt extreme pain down below. Danielle was concerned, and so she spoke to her doctor. "I was just having a severe muscle spasm from the massager. I called my doctor, and she informed us that is not oak," Danielle Colby wrote in her previous blog post. "We cannot be using any sort of massagers at this time, not until 16 weeks after the surgery. So last night was a little bit terrifying until I was able to speak with my doctor." She also has been wearing compression socks since undergoing surgery. Danielle can't wear the sexy burlesque costumes and lingerie she typically does on Instagram. She has to change up her entire lifestyle at this point. This has made it hard for her to feel sensual and get back into her work. American Pickers star gets her groove back. Danielle Colby returned to her Patreon blog to share an update. She admitted that she hasn't gotten her mojo back since then. The reality star has no interest in her adult work. She found inspiration from a burlesque artist who appeared on a throwback episode of American Pickers. "I received an email from Chantel's daughter stating that her mom, Chantel Capre, was shown on the American Pickers episode featuring Blaze Fury," Danielle Colby explained in her new Patreon blog post. "I had lost so much desire to work during this healing time, and now I have some of my excitement back after reading this email." She noted that she feels she's chosen the right career path. Danielle continues to share her recovery on social media. This comes on the heels of the new season of American Pickers, which is currently in production. Danielle will be opting out of that season for now. Danielle Colby has always been the rock behind American Pickers. While Mike Wolfe and former co-star Frank Fritz hunted for treasures in the heartland, Danielle held down the fort at Antique Archaeology, the show's now iconic storefront. Known for her unique style, love of history, and tattooed persona, Danielle's role on the show was more than just a background character. She was the glue that kept everything together. However, over the last few seasons, there's been a shift. Fans started to notice that Danielle's spark seemed to dim. Her appearances became fewer and her energy more reserved. With Frank Fritz leaving the show and the format shifting, many wondered if Danielle was pulling back, reconsidering her place in the American Pickers world. Was the magic of the hunt fading for her too? That's why this particular episode was so pivotal. Titled Danielle's Redemption, it was clear from the start that this would be different from your typical treasure hunt. The focus wasn't on dusty barns, rusted signs, or rare vintage cars. This time, it was on Danielle, her journey, her passion, and, most importantly, her comeback. A new chapter begins. The episode opens with Danielle standing outside Antique Archaeology. the morning sun casting a warm glow across the Nashville landscape. She smiles, but there's a weight in her eyes, one that speaks of the ups and downs she's faced both personally and professionally. "I've been doing this a long time," Danielle begins in a confessional. "There's a part of me that's always loved the thrill of finding something old, something with a story. But lately, I feel like I've lost touch with that part of myself. I think it's time to get my mojo back." The premise of the episode becomes clear. Danielle is setting out on her own pick, without Mike or the team, to rediscover the joy that brought her to the world of antiques in the first place. This journey, however, isn't just about collecting artifacts. It's about reconnecting with a part of herself that's been buried under years of managing the store and playing second fiddle on the show. The road less traveled. Danielle's adventure begins with a road trip to a location not too far from where she grew up, a small, rural town in Iowa. There she visits a long-forgotten antique store run by an old friend of her father's, a man named Gus who's been in the business for decades. The store is a time capsule, filled with items untouched by the modern world. As she walks through the aisles, you can almost feel the years fall away from Danielle's shoulders. "This place is like stepping back into my childhood," she says, a hint of nostalgia in her voice. "I remember coming to places like this with my dad. He taught me how to see the beauty in things other people had thrown away." Gus greets her with a warm embrace, and they spend time reminiscing about the old days. It's clear that Gus is more than just a friend of the family. He's one of the people who helped ignite Danielle's passion for history and antiques. Gus takes Danielle to a hidden section of the store, one that hasn't been touched in years. There she finds an array of vintage burlesque memorabilia, a treasure trove for someone with Danielle's background in burlesque dancing and performing. "This is incredible," she breathes, holding up a feathered fan that looks like it came straight out of the 1920s. "It's like finding a piece of myself again." Rediscovering the passion. As Danielle sorts through the items, she begins to talk about her love for burlesque and how it's intertwined with her passion for antiques. "Burlesque is about storytelling," she explains. "Every performance, every costume tells a story of a different era, a different life. That's what I love about picking too. You're not just finding objects, you're finding stories." She selects a few pieces, a sequined corset, a vintage showgirl poster, and an old set of stage lights, and decides to restore them, a project that will allow her to blend her two worlds, the performer and the picker. It's in this moment that you see the Danielle that fans fell in love with, a woman who isn't afraid to dive deep into her passions and isn't content with just the surface-level aspects of life. Back at Antique Archaeology, Danielle sets up a small section of the store dedicated to her burlesque finds. She's animated in a way that fans haven't seen in years, working alongside a local restoration artist to bring the items back to their former glory. The process is painstaking, but with each step, it's clear that Danielle is not just restoring objects. She's restoring herself. "I think I needed this," she admits. "I needed to remember why I started doing this in the first place." It's easy to get caught up in the business side of things, but at the end of the day, it's about passion. It's about history, and it's about telling stories that deserve to be told. The show must go on. As the episode wraps up, Danielle unveils the restored burlesque collection to Mike and the rest of the team. They're visibly impressed, not just by the quality of the items, but by the energy and excitement that Danielle brings with her. "Danielle's always been the heart of this place," Mike says, and seeing her find that passion again is a reminder of why we do what we do. The final shot shows Danielle standing in front of her newly curated section at Antique Archaeology, a look of pride on her face. It's not just about the items she's collected. It's about the journey she's been on to rediscover her love for the hunt. "I've got my mojo back," she says with a grin. "And I'm just getting started." The aftermath. Fans were quick to react to the episode, flooding social media with praise for Danielle's vulnerability and authenticity. Many noted that it felt like the old American Pickers again, with a renewed focus on passion and storytelling, rather than just the buys. Danielle's episode wasn't just a reminder of why fans loved the show in the first place. It was a testament to her resilience and her ability to evolve, both as a person and as a picker.